This is our attempt at taking a shot at recreating BarbaraKruger's iconic style. Her work shows us just how powerful the mix of text, colours and images can be. It can influence what we buy, make us question our worth, and even lead us into conflict. Let's dive into the world of BarbaraKruger, a master of bold, thought-provoking, text-based art. This is an actual quote by Barbara, by the way.
We reckon it really sums up her intention with her work in a lot of ways. She's all about making us stop and think, whether it's about consumerism, identity, or power. Her art grabs your attention, then hits you with something deeper.
And Barbara has certainly stirred the pot with her provocative work. Not everyone's a fan, and we'll get into that, of course. We'll also talk about how one company was inspired by Barbara's text-based style, created a logo around it, and then, in a funny twist, sued another company whose owner, a former Real Housewives star, did something similar for her brand. Barbara had something to say about that, of course.
And we've got a sneaking suspicion that something a bit dodgy might be happening right here, on this very platform.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Let's see if you agree with us.
And this video about BarbaraKruger comes as a request from one of our lovely viewers, Patrice. We do love a good challenge. Patrice also asked for a video on Anna Mendieta before, and oh boy, that was an exciting journey. You can check it out by clicking the link at the end of this video or in the description box below.
And you can make a request too. Just drop a comment below and let us know what kind of video you'd like us to cover. We're keeping it broad, so feel free to get creative, as long as it's about women in the arts.
Alright, let's dive straight into Barbara's top 3 most famous pieces. First up is Your Body is a Battleground. This work is both art and a form of protest. Back in 1989, there were loads of demonstrations against a new wave of anti-abortion laws that were chipping away at the Roe v. Wade decision from 1973. Barbara created Your Body is a Battleground for the Women's March on Washington, standing up for reproductive freedom.
It sounds strangely familiar, doesn't it?
Yes, like history is repeating itself.
This piece is truly iconic. Barbara's work is a strong critique of consumerism. The catchphrase, "I shop, therefore I am," is a clever twist on the famous line from the French philosopher René Descartes, "I think, therefore I am." Barbara's message is that in today's world, people often define themselves by what they buy. It's a real wake-up call to question and challenge the messages we get from advertising and the media.
It's incredibly powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely. Barbara's work has been described as time bombs, and her work hits you hard.
You Are Not Yourself is another incredible piece that delivers a powerful critique of identity and society's expectations. It suggests that who we think we are might not be our true selves. Instead, our identities are often shaped by outside pressures and social norms. Many see this piece as particularly addressing women's experiences. Women face so many standards and are often forced to juggle conflicting roles, ending up as a mix of other people's expectations and assumptions. When a woman finally gets a moment for self-reflection, or as Barbara puts it, a chance to catch a glimpse in the mirror, she realizes she is not herself.
I can definitely relate to that.
Same here.
Let's take a look at Barbara's powerful techniques, and her formula, if you will, for creating these striking and thought-provoking pieces. By the way, funny story. "We don't need another hero" is a direct quote from Tina Turner's song in a Mad Max film. Barbara uses bold colours like red, black and white, as you can see here, along with fonts like Futura Bold Oblique and Helvetica Ultra Condensed to make her work really stand out. When you combine these colours, fonts and images, you get a strong visual impact that instantly grabs your attention and effectively delivers her provocative messages. There's always a kind of tension between the words and the imagery or space. It feels very editorial, almost like you're looking at an ad or a magazine cover.
Yes, it really does. This comes from Barbara growing up during the golden age of advertising in the USA. For instance, she worked as a picture editor for Mademoiselle in the late 60s and 70s, and we think she might have had a hand in some of these covers. Physically arranging layouts for magazine spreads gave her a solid understanding of how images and layouts can influence culture and circulation. While she was working in the editorial world, Barbara also developed an interest in poetry, attending readings and writing her own. When she transitioned into the art world, she started creating works that use similar techniques but with a more critical and provocative twist. So, That's how everything came together for Barbara.
Is it really art, though? Some people argue that Barbara's work doesn't count as traditional art because it mixes commercial design and advertising techniques. They say it can be repetitive and propagandistic, oversimplifying complex social and political issues into catchy slogans and bold visuals. We came across an article that takes this viewpoint even further. Here are some direct quotes.
Kruger is the collagist who slaps sarcastic slogans boxed in red on old black and white photographs. She doesn't like to be for things. Instead, she identifies herself with a stance: critical, suspicious, oppositional. Kruger has made a career out of denouncing oppressors, from anti-abortion agitators to wife-beaters, homophobics, racists, and the editors of glossy magazines.
And it adds, what does it feel like to walk inside a Kruger installation? It feels awful. There's no other way to put it. It's like being buttonholed by a snob who has either never met or never made an effort to sympathise with the middle Americans she rails against.
Ouch! But the thing is, Barbara grew up in a working-class family in New Jersey.
She definitely knows how to stir up emotions.
But Barbara doesn't see a clear-cut divide between the art and commercial worlds. Instead, she views it all as a continuous flow of moments, shaped by interaction. That's especially true in the digital age we're living in now.
Yeah, she was ahead of her time for sure.
This attention-grabbing style is something highly valued in the commercial world. It sells. And of course, Barbara's style has been copied everywhere because it's so effective. A good example is the streetwear brand Supreme, which created a logo similar to Barbara's style. But in a funny twist, Supreme ended up filing a lawsuit against Married to the Mob, a brand started by a former Real Housewives star, claiming they copied Supreme's logo.
And this is Barbara's response. She didn't take it too seriously, seeing it as just part of the broader culture of appropriation in fashion. In the end, Supreme dropped their £10 million lawsuit, and Married to the Mob agreed to stop using a design that closely resembled Supreme's logo.
And that got us thinking about the very platform we're on right now. It's not exactly the same, but it definitely feels similar to what Barbara's doing, don't you think? Let us know in the comments if you agree or not. Barbara's work is definitely provocative, thought-provoking, and challenging.
Honestly, I find it hard to look in the mirror now without questioning if I really know myself.
Yes, she asks those tough questions, but I think it's good to get a wake-up call every now and then, instead of just going with the flow.
That's so true. And a big thank you to Patrice Steckner for requesting this video. She always takes us on adventurous art journeys focusing on women in art. If you'd like to do the same, feel free to request a video about women in art in the comments, and we'll try to make one just like we did for Patrice Steckner.
And if you're new to Mikono Art, we focus on women's art, past, present, and from all around the world. By liking, subscribing, and commenting, you're supporting our mission to highlight women artists and bring their stories to light. Even a simple emoji in the comments helps.
Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of the artistic world.